Gotta say, I am super delighted to see that in the archives of my good friend Joshua Fluke here, he's got a lot more of these recruiter interview calls than I thought. Even better, this one right here, it's from an internal recruiter with Google. So I'm hoping to see in this video, this recruiter is able to dig and dive into, like, technically speaking, what Josh is doing on a day-to-day. Let's get it.
Wanna see everybody eat. No Thanksgiving. I ain't even trying to preach, but remember around with the deacon. Windows low in the wintertime, me and my dog freeze. Motivation if you need it. Like Rowdy ball hard every season. They gon' hate, so get a ass another.
Hi, is this Joshua?
Hey, yeah, is this from Google?
Yes, it
Yeah,
is. How are
he's
you
ready to
doing
go.
today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for taking the
Just a little
time to speak
nervous.
with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So I guess to get us kicked off, I'd love to get a quick glance maybe at some of the current work that you're doing.
Current work that I'm doing currently is for we're a for-profit organization, but we sell software to nonprofit organizations. So it's called software. So like homeless shelters use it a lot to track their intake.
Getting into it.
All of that we sell to churches. What it's built in is C#. It's the ASP.NET stack, and I was brought on to do like a full overhaul of the whole front end pretty much, and so that's what I've been working on my most recent job. And then I also teach code on the weekends to some students. So yeah, I just enjoy giving back, I guess.
Not sure what that means exactly.
And what technologies? I know you said that you're working
full
or the
overhaul.
app is built in the
Is that
.NET
a
stack.
migration
but I guess like what specific languages
from
are
one
you
stack
working
to the
with?
next to another?
Sure. So I work with SAS, HTML, CSS, C#, and JavaScript mostly.
Okay. And what would you, out of like all of the languages that you work with, I guess what would you consider your strongest?
Probably JavaScript.
So off the bat, kind of feels like she has a sheet of paper in which she's just kind of going off the list and asking questions. No follow-up questions, really. No drive for a deeper level of understanding. Like when he mentioned he's working at a for-profit company that sells software to non-for-profit companies. He did mention, let's say, a homeless shelter can track intake. My question would be, all right, what all goes into it in terms of what are the functions? Who exactly, who at the homeless shelter would be using it? Who would be the direct like end user? I know he's more on the front end, and this is probably more back end type questioning, but what type of data is now being, I guess, input into this? Let's say homeless person comes, how much personal data would they have? Do they have IDs and stuff? But is that what they're inputting? Okay, your name, age, sex, how many days they've stayed, or is it also tracking budgets in terms of food, what they provide to the homeless? Once the data is intook right into the application, are you processing it so that it can just be stored for further recording and report for documentation? Does the developer need to design some database models for like a rule engine to be input? I don't know, I'm just kind of, it's kind of hard for me to like really think of a scenario because I'm not a developer, and I'm just going off of my own speculation. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, yes, this is a software, but okay, what all is it doing? And then where do you come in? Sometimes I like to shoot my shots and I'll miss. I'll say, hey, I could be wrong, but I'm going to take a shot here. I'm guessing this is what is being used, yada, yada. Either I'm correct and they elaborate, or I'm incorrect and they correct me and elaborate. Now I can kind of gauge the level of, are they just coding things based off of a set of instructions given to them, or are they also collaborating with end users, stakeholders, business clients and stuff to understand needs and to solve problems for them, or offer solutions to make their workflow more efficient within the application? In my head, it makes sense. I don't even know if that made sense just now, but I think it did. Fuck it.
I'm not sure if HTML and CSS count. I spent a lot of time making the HTML semantic and responsive and all that. So I would say like that's where a lot of my hours goes. But if we're talking functional language here, probably JavaScript.
So would you consider yourself like more of just a front-end focus or kind of a full-stack engineer? I guess, how do you kind of see yourself in your skills?
I would say full stack, but I just keep getting put into positions that are front end. I have no preference really. Well, I take that back. I do have a preference. I'm more of a visual learner, so we're not visual learner. Visual in general, like the little slide outs that go on the screen and the way stuff fades in and out. Like I get really excited about all that little stuff, and I know people on the back end get really excited when they write code the first time and then it works. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Awesome. So I guess would you like consider yourself kind of closer to more of like the front end, including the design, or do you also get excited by some of the back end work as well?
It depends on what language I have to use for the back end. But I do like design, although I haven't done it enough to say that I'm like, you know, a UI UX designer. I do like design. I think it's a learnable skill, just like anything else. I know you have to have like an eye for design, which I think I do. But if you were to say, hey, could you give us a new UI? I'd be like, yeah, you're going to have to give me someone to hire to do that. You know what I mean?
I actually shut up for a second here because this is the most I think I've ever heard. I mean, to a recruiter, Josh speak. He wants this job. I mean, it's Google. Why the fuck wouldn't you want that? In other videos, I feel like some of the way that her questions and everything, I feel like he would have gotten impatient or frustrated. Because once again, I just feel like she's not really coming. I don't know if I was hoping to be impressed. I was hoping to sit here and learn as someone who also works at a very high scale technology company. I was hoping to sit here and like take notes a little bit. All the questions she's asking, we're all looking for the same thing. I'm just gotta be honest. It seems like she's just asking questions and that are on a sheet of paper and then just writing down his answers and moving on from there. Disappointed.
How are you with things like data structures and algorithms and kind of some of the more computer science-y fundamentals?
I didn't go to school for computer science, so I'm missing out on a portion of that, but the rest of it has been filled in through self-study, although I'll just admit that it's one of my weaker points that I'm working on.
I like that, Josh.
I mean, is that something that like you're interested in developing more and would, you know, be comfortable being tested in?
Well, I mean, I know that's the majority of any tech job these days is you have to take an algorithms and data structures test, so that's what I prepare for generally. Because I know on the job we're going to be using Stack Overflow the majority of the day, or, you know,
Sure.
We'll have a general idea how to do it and it'll fill in the gaps, but data structures and algorithms in general, I'm working on them. I'm all self-taught in that aspect of it, though.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure that was something like you weren't turned off by or anything like that. Awesome.
There's a good chance that she is looking for back-end developers because she keeps alluding to, what is your experience with back-end? Are you comfortable with taking a test for algorithms, data structures, and yada, yada, yada.
So I guess what are some of your interests as far as the types of projects that you work on and the things that get you excited?
So, in what way? Like,
Great question.
what are my favorite types of projects to work on? Is that what you mean?
All the questions are the same. Like, all the
So,
information we're trying to get
I would
is the
say
same.
Preference, of course. I'm a visual
I just
person,
wish
so I really
she'd
like the front
ask
end.
more about his actual
If I
job.
had to pick like a stack, I really like the new stuff. So React is good, and then lately I've been learning a lot about Python because of Python's utility. There's you know, you can do machine learning, you can do AI, you can do web development with it.
We do everything
A
with
lot of
it.
data
I
science
feel like.
as well.
Yep. So, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just adding to it.
Oh yeah, it has the most utility, I'd say, and then paired with JavaScript, they're probably the most in demand right now. So I've been learning that a lot on my free time.
Okay, awesome, great. And what are some things that I guess are important to you as far as the types of roles that you're in and the types of companies that you work for?
Okay, so this is kind of like how I live my life. If I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm definitely in the wrong room. So I need people that are way better than me so that I can learn from them. Like I like being a
Love that.
little fish in a big pond.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would say I need to be able to learn from people, but like flexibility to be able to do it, I guess.
And are there any particular, I guess, products or projects of Google's that you've heard about or caught your attention recently that you thought would be really exciting to work on?
Pretty much all the same questions at Microsoft.
The last time I was like really looking at Google projects, I know that you guys are doing a lot with machine learning, and I think that would be really cool. I know that Google Voice used to be a thing, and then it kind of just disappeared, but I guess that was used for like...
I'm actually calling you on Google Voice right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Uh-huh.
As I signed up for it.
Oh my God. I'm laughing because, God, I do the same shit. Anytime somebody talks about they want to work on enterprise customer facing products, I say, hey, you know what? If you think about it, I mean, Microsoft, yeah, a lot of people around the world are using the products and the technology, but surprise, surprise, we're talking to you on Microsoft Teams right now. That shit is so corny. But sometimes, I like to be corny on purpose, even if I know the laugh I'm going to get from you is a fake ass laugh. And I think it just kind of softens the tension on both ends a little bit, I don't know, psychology.
And then everyone just kind of stopped using it, but I think Google did that just to get like machine learning to practice voice to text. I don't know, I think that was really cool.
So like Gmail and other applications there, and starting to integrate like predictive text and things like that into those.
Into email, I saw that.
Yeah, it works really well for recruiting.
I can imagine. Hi, Josh. Tab. We'd like to interview you, Tab.
Yeah.
See, there you go, Josh. I like that. He's showing some personality. He knew that was a corny ass fucking joke, but he really wants to work at Google, and anyone would recognize that Google is like top tier. He might be able to tell that she's looking for more back end type of work or experience, even though some things don't match up in terms of the basic qualifications. Not everything is black and white. I think he's realizing that effort goes a long way. So I think he's showing effort here compared to the other videos. And as a recruiter, I appreciate that. And it's just kind of fun to see Josh in more of a true element of him in terms of like he wants this job, so he's performing right now, not for us. He's performing for him, and I like that. I appreciate that.
And so we've got that, and then other core products like search, of course, uses a lot of learning to make sure that we're getting the right results to the right people, that our users are able to find what they're really looking for, and Geo is even using it as well, but of course, they integrate a lot with search. But the point I'm trying to get at too is these teams, a lot of times they are more than willing to take on people who maybe don't have a strong background in that concept, but just have like an interest and a passion for it and really believe in where that technology is going, and are more than willing to teach people joining that team how to do those things. So,
okay.
Before he starts talking, hats off to Google for that. I think, once again, Microsoft is very similar. They are very willing to recognize someone that has the propensity to learn or the knack for learning, is very passionate about the opportunity and just wants to get in there and just soak everything in like a sponge. It's cool to hear that Google is in the same, it sounds like they have the same type of mindset. So hats off to Google for that.
Exciting times right now.
So what about like if I wanted to go into that, right, and then the data algorithms and the data structures that I'd have to test on would be probably pretty advanced. Would that be like lowered for me, or would it be related to what I know, or what does that look like?
So the way
I gotta stop it. I want to see how she answers this because I get this question a lot too. He's asking, will they essentially lower the bar for someone that like it's known, like he's made it known that he doesn't really have these core fundamentals or that exposure. I'm willing to guess that answer is just a no, they won't. But I am interested to see how she answers this question. My guess, even if she kind of rambles and dances around it, I feel like she's gonna like be pretty honest here. I would think, but we'll see.
interviews kind of work, it depends on what type of position that you're going for. So we do have some, of course, machine learning focused, like in the job title, machine learning engineers. Those are generally like we're looking for people with like PhDs in this and extensive experience. However, we do also have either generalist back-end engineers or even front-end engineers who
the route she's going is not answering the
deal with
question.
these concepts. That's what I'm kind of talking to you about right now.
Mm-hmm.
So the interview process does differ a little bit, between front end and the generalist interviews between those positions. So the way the interviews work, we start off typically with a technical phone screen.
She completely disregarded the question, and I don't know what's worse here. I don't know. Like, she didn't even give a bullshit answer. She didn't give an answer. She just completely started talking about something that was completely irrelevant.
Our generalist engineers, that's gonna, be pretty straightforward, problem-solving questions with data structures and algorithms, and that's also possible for front-end engineering phone screens as well. But with the front-end positions, you're going to be interviewed by someone who has an expertise in the front end as well. So they may throw in some questions about like HTML and CSS and other web technologies, things like that.
Now, does she know that though? If I'm Josh, now I'm questioning what you're telling me. Is this real or not? I think he's probably sensing this right now. And me myself, I'm wondering like what she's saying, all these things. How do you know that? Talent sourcers like me, we don't really get much, at least here, we don't really get much visibility on those things. And I don't know, she's saying a lot. She's saying a lot based on a question that does, she's oh man, good stuff.
Try to gauge your eye for design and things like that, not in like a UI designer way necessarily, but just making sure that you have a little bit of knowledge about that and experience in the front end enough to succeed in those sorts of concepts. Whereas if that technical phone screen goes well, then we bring you on site for interviews. And so that's 5 interviews throughout the course of a day. And for our generalist positions, it's, more of a, all of them are more general focused on your data structures, algorithms, CS fundamentals, all of that. Whereas for front-end engineers, you have 2 of them that are kind of more heavily focused on your CS fundamentals and coding. And the other 3 are more focused on your front-end knowledge and knowledge of JavaScript, because all of our front-end engineers do code in JavaScript. And so that's kind of the way, like, taking a consultant's approach, if you were to pursue an opportunity here, I would probably push you a little bit more towards those front-end opportunities, because that seems to be with JavaScript being your strongest language and where you've done the most work. That would, probably better show off your skills during the interviews.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's talk about, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, what about the location basis of all these? Because I know Google's got offices in California, all over the world.
He had to pump his brakes for a little bit there. He's realizing, all right, she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. Or at least she seems like she doesn't, because he asked a very direct question and she just went on for 2-3 minutes on something that's completely irrelevant and just slid right past his question. And you see how he, all right, let's talk about this. I think he's just losing respect for her as a recruiter, basically. And it's just kind of funny to see.
What does it look like right now as far as me? Because I'm in Salt Lake City.
Sure. So I do primarily work with our San Francisco Bay Area offices. However, we do have...
Oh, here comes an ad. I'm going to use this time to also point out I'm not perfect either. There are times where I don't really know how to answer the question, or maybe I ask a question and the answer I get back, I'm like, I don't know how to really follow up with that and continue the natural flow of this conversation. And I find myself just, okay, so as far as, and I just move on to the next thing, and I'm just in my head, I'm always just like, fuck.
The primary number, or the most number of needs that we would have would be in that Bay Area. So I don't know what your thoughts are, what you would be open to.
It's a good recruiter question.
Is there
Always
like
ask, what are you open to?
Yeah, is there like a relocation package or something? Because I know like San Francisco is like 50% of your income just to pay your rent. So
sure.
What does the average?
Okay. So I don't have like a ton of details at this point.
Yeah, she's definitely a talent sourcer. Just like me. Because those specific details we do not get. I'm just hung up on how he asked a question and she went into that other shit, and I'm just wondering, how the fuck do you know that? So do you know that? Or are you bullshitting?
Exactly, our relocation package, I do know that we offer that relocation assistance, and I know that our compensation packages are based, not only on your experience, but also on, cost of labor in each area. So that is adjusted depending, on which office that you would be in.
Okay. Is there any opportunities like for a remote, or is Google not about the remote?
Yeah, unfortunately,
that question sucks as a talent source.
I say unfortunately, but it's actually a good thing in Google's eyes. But we like to have people in person in the offices, just based on how our teams are run and the culture and the collaboration that we have between team members. We found that it works out a lot better if everyone's sitting together.
Nice, direct answer.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because I'm in like downtown Salt Lake City and I have a house and all that stuff. So.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure this isn't the first time you've encountered that though.
No, it's not. So would you, be like completely against any sort of relocation,
Good question.
Or would it depend on the opportunity?
It would depend. It would depend on the opportunity for sure, and because it's Google, so.
Sure.
Yeah, we'd have to see. So what does next steps look like?
So what we could do from here is, I talked a little bit to you about the interview processes. In order to, get you set up for all of those, what I would just need from you would be like a copy of your resume, the names of anyone who you might know here at Google. I don't know if you know anyone or not. If you do, it could really help out in the process. If not, it doesn't hurt you.
I don't know.
But, we try.
I know any of y'all that sit on Zoom all day because you work from home. It's just funny how everyone speaks the same way, same cadences and shit. Let me just share my screen. Let me know if you guys can all see this. All right, great. So,
okay, and what is I would guess say from step one right now to job, what is like the acceptance rate? I don't know the word I'm looking for, like, because it's Google.
Well, let's say like you did interview, did your phone screen, and maybe didn't do amazing this first time. That's pretty common, I would say.
Sure.
And
can you get like
not something to?
Go
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna be like, can you get like blacklisted? So if you don't do good the first time and you
Valid
reapply
question.
within like 6 months or something like that, do you still have a shot, or are they just like, yeah, no, sorry, we're not looking at you anymore?
We
Depends.
do typically ask that you wait.
It depends. I'd say it depends. Most companies, like big companies like this, there's a cool off period. If you don't do well in the interview, there's a certain amount of days or months that you before you can reapply. Um, Based on how each company is set up when it comes to like the feedback or how much gets documented, recruiters have, we do check that shit, but it kind of depends. Not necessarily, no one gets blacklisted. Like, can't blacklist people because they had a bad interview. Sometimes you shoot your shot and you miss. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be in the arena. But if you're getting blown out by 70, then whew.
After going through the interview process. And that's just for, this similar role. So like if you were to interview and not do well now, for software engineering, you'd still be able to apply for other positions. But as far as software engineer roles, we'd ask that you wait 12 months before reapplying.
Damn, 12 months.
Okay. Can I ask about non-software related roles at Google, like
like other tech roles?
Maybe something in like marketing or something like that. Is there anything like that? I really enjoy that.
Okay. I do not typically work with those types of roles. I do focus on software engineering. However, you are more than welcome to like go on our careers page and kind of look around and see if there's something that does interest
saying the
you.
same shit.
Maybe I can
If I ain't got nothing for you, that's how I know she's a talent source, and she doesn't really have. And that's not a bit. I'm not like downplaying that. I'm a talent source, but she doesn't really have visibility on specific things, and it's like we don't really have the visibility here on that. I always say go to the careers page. Have a field day applying to shit, but I can't really help. That's how I know she's a talent sourcer. But yeah, marketing, that's out of nowhere. I never got that.
And pass your info along, see if there's any interest there. I'd be happy to try to do that for you if that's something that you would rather pursue.
Let's take it step one first. I was just curious. I was just throwing that out there.
Sure.
Yeah. I feel like as soon as we hang up, I'm gonna come up with a question, but
that's totally fine. I'm here.
That's how it goes.
You can email or give me another call.
Say the
But
same
other than that, I'll
shit.
pass along this information to you that I have on the process and all of that, and can talk some more and hopefully move along in that process.
Okay, cool. If I have any extra questions,
Same shit.
I'll send you an email after this. I'm sure I will.
Perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But I will shoot you along that information and we'll go from there.
Good God. Like that last 15 seconds right there. That's why I like watching these videos. Like that sound is so robotic. I'm bringing this up because that last 15 seconds, I'm thinking of like the last 2 calls I had today, almost word for word. So what I said, I'm thinking right now, I'm like, damn, I gotta switch that shit up. A lot of this calls so many similarities between what they're doing, what we're doing, the questions she's asking, and the questions I ask. Now, the way she went about it, I felt like this was a little, still from my taste, it just seemed too scripted, like it wasn't a conversation. I like to get all the information I need, but it's not all going to come in the same order every time. And who knows, maybe sometimes candidates get off the phone like, yo, that dude was eccentric as fuck. Like, what's up with that dude? He was kind of strange. I'm confident that what they do know is he's here for a conversation though, like a real one. So I hope I hope my candidates appreciate that at least. Yeah, I think that was pretty much the end of the call. That was fun though. I would like to find some more of those. But anyway, there you go, recruiters. Let's be better.